Hey everybody, Obey the Papaya back at you again with another tier list video, this time for version 0.18. So remember guys, this is my opinion. A lot of people have been doing them. Might as well share what I think is really strong. My type of bias is going to be towards like pub stomping, you're a solo queue, you want to carry, and kind of the people that I play against and what I think really is strong, utility wise and all that. So as a mid laner, I think I have a lot of I do a lot of rotation, so I pay specific attention to who has utility, and those are the people I personally really like to see on my team. And the type of characters I like to play are high damage assassin based ish characters, right? So let's get straight into the tier list. So first on the tier list we got Countess. Now y'all know I love Countess. I think she's been really strong. But with the current changes, it's still been kind of tough to get a really solid build onto her. I think Mega Cosm is still the build you want to take on her. Maybe Orb of Growth if you're against like Howie's, like a lot of damage, a lot of aggression. But her damage doesn't feel as healthy, as strong, even into late game, right? As it used to. A lot of the mid laners a lot of carries, they got a lot tankier, honestly. So I don't feel like she's outputting as much damage as I personally would have liked. I believe I had her as an A, list. But overall, like relative to how things are, even as a jungler, there's better junglers, there's better mid laners, there's better off laners to take. I think that I'm honestly gonna put her at a B tier right now. I believe she was at an A tier before. She's at a B tier now. That's just how I feel. There's still some things, some changes, but her carry potential has dropped a tad bit. She can't guarantee, comfortably that she's going to assassinate the carry. She still provides a stun with her ultimate. She can be very annoying, but she just feels a little bit, needs a touch up, I feel like, at least with ability haste. I feel like all her skills just take way too long for being a melee based character, and on top of that, very squishy. So next we got Twin Blast. Now Twin Blast was super strong initially with his assassin build. He's kind of fell off from that. On hit is king right now. On hit items are super strong, right? But I do think that he's not necessarily an S tier rank anymore. I'm gonna put him as an A tier rank. Does a lot of damage. He's solid. He has escape, but he has phenomenal clear and all that. But he's not the king of damage output, right? I think that there's just better characters that straight up throw raw damage output. He's just solid with clear. You can guarantee that you're going to farm extremely safe with him. Definitely a character to learn how to play. Like, I think he is very solid because I think he's the best, safest carry with the way that he's able to farm. So if you're new to carry and all that stuff, I do think that he is the best carry to play, like overall, just not in the S tier broken section anymore. So next we got Drongo. Now, I should mention, I think this is one of the most balanced patches. I think most characters are going to land in the A tier, like overall. I think a lot of characters are very fair. So I wanna keep mention that early. I do think this is actually a pretty good balanced patch. I think a lot of characters are pretty fair. Everything's going pretty well. It feels very clean. Right, there is some things that do need to be adjusted, but I think it's going to be very easy for them to adjust in the next patch. That's when my main judgment's going to come. If they don't do any balance on that, on like on hit damage, sparrow and whatnot, then we have a problem. But I think the overall it's pretty balanced. And tanks could get a little bit of an overall buff, just a tad bit, but I personally think that it's on hit, it's a carry build item. I think everything is fine. I think that we're going to see a lot of solid characters that you can play. So Drongo, he does on-hit damage, ton of CC, nuclear round, not CC per se, though he does have CC in his kit. He just has a lot of, damage output, percent HP, base damage. I'm going to have to give him an A list. I think he's really, really solid. He has very good wave clear. Nuclear rounds is phenomenal on him. All right, next we got is Crunch. So Crunch, I'm going to put him in A. He's a very strong jungler for pub stomping. It's hard to really communicate with the team to stop a Crunch. He has really good gank potential after level 6. Pretty decent clear. You can build him more bruisey. You can build him more damage. He has a lot of ways to get built right now with the current patch. I think he's very strong current patch, right? He can get tanky enough while still outputting a ton of damage, which is what you need currently for these type of tanks, these type of bruisers with this patch. Now Fang Mao is in a weird spot for me. If you can one trick Fang Mao, he can be a lot better, but Fang Mao is just in a weird spot because he's similar to Countess, where people feel too tanky to really really demolish a Fang Mao, but at the same time, a Fang Mao, for Fang Mao to get, to ult and absolutely burst down. But he still is strong. He can be strong in 1v1 fights if you know how to play him. I'm going to say if you're capable of one-tricking him, like overall, I think he's a little bit of a harder character, and he doesn't work well with the hard CC meta. And with carries basically having a little more tankiness. Unless you can dominate early, I think you can cook with him. But I put him between a B or C. I'm going to put him on B, biased more towards C than biased more towards A. So like a BC tier for Fang Mao. Next we got his gadget. Now I like gadget. She's really fun. I think the items did really well with her, especially with the combustion stacking on overall damage. But she has a problem that I've said that she has. She takes too long to use her abilities. Her abilities aren't necessarily instant. They're all dot damage. She's very zoning based. I have to give her C tier. Like, there's better mid laners. It's simple as that. It's kind of a waste in my opinion to pick a gadget. It's just that there's better mid laners that do better than her. Gideon is going to be the first in the S list. He has just been a phenomenal mid laner throughout. He's super easy to play, super easy to farm, super easy to just do whatever you want with him, right? He belongs there. He outputs so much damage right now. Really good sustain, really good farm. Mid laners are really enjoying this patch. All right, next, Greystone. So Greystone, out of the tanks, I'm going to put him in A because he is the tankiest of tanks. And the reason being his ultimate, right? So he can build Basilisk and apply Shred to give more damage to your carries and to your physical damage. And he's a tank that has almost 2 lives, basically, right? He just has a pretty solid build path. He's just good in general, I think, right now. So I'm going to give him the A list. He's still very viable. He's very annoying to most people, right? So I give him the A list in terms of the tank potential and the damage. Definitely a jungler more than offlaner, I'd say, currently. In terms of being able to farm and throw a lot of clear. He might get a little bit beat up in terms of the offlane a bit, but I mean, in reality, once you're level 6 with Greystone, you shouldn't die in the offlane. You have 2 lives, you can escape. There's a lot of ways to outplay a lot of offlaners. Next is Grux. Now, y'all gonna hate me for this, but honestly, to me, Grux is between a B, C tier, especially now. I'm seeing a lot of people. I'm going to bias him towards B because he's a pub stomper, right? You can climb out a low elo with him, but there's better offlaners. And it's because now people are building Sky Splitter due to having the lifesteal on it. I don't remember if Bonesaw really had too much of a change on it. There's one more item, I think, that kind of made Grux a little strong too. But it's just like, he's easily punishable. I have to give him a B because he's a low elo pub stomper, but he really deserves to be in C. He just gets caught out. Like, he just, one form of CC stops him. He needs to ramp up when it comes to getting into gold and getting into literally plat plus games. He should not be dominating in reality. I think it's just people not knowing how to play into him, that it's so easy to play into him. Just don't give him an early lead. But I'm going to give him a B because he is indeed a pub stomper, and you got to respect that. All right, next we got is Howitzer. Howitzer, gonna put him in the A list. Just outputs a lot of damage, has pretty good safe lane. A little bit slow and overall clear, but it's not really an issue. Provides CC with his E, a lot of zoning. He's just strong. And now with Soulbinder coming in, you get to stack really easily. You're basically getting free magic power. And if you go Obelisk route, which I think is the best and probably the only crest besides Stasis that he can get, so you're gonna get a ton of damage output with him. Now, Kalari didn't necessarily get too many changes with the items overall. Once again, carries are a little bit more tankier, but they don't have Stonewall to kind of save them. Mid laners do still have golems to save them. Golems gift to save them from Kalari burst. So like, she's still really annoying and frustrating, but her skill level and all that is kind of falling off. That, like, I want to say she's between an A and B tier, but I'm gonna put her in B because she is fairly squishy. With carries being so strong and whatnot, she can get punished. One form of CC eats her up and then kind of stops and limits her. I still, like I said, I bias her A and B. I think she's still broken in terms of her actual kit and invisibility, mainly due to warding, not like, so like, in terms of her actual damage output in the current meta and all that, I'm gonna give her B. But it's biased between an A and B. Now, Chimera is still a phenomenal jungler for all elos. He's actually going to go into S tier. Super strong, high damage output, has a stun with his ultimate, has pretty good sustain. A lot of items actually built for him right now. You can get a lot of sustain going, Sky Splitter and King's Bane, which I thought I would never say in my entire life. But yeah, it actually can cook. So I had to put her there. Now Kira is really strong this patch with on-hit build. The only reason why I'm putting her in A tier though is because she has relatively slow clear. But she does a ton of damage if you wait till late game. A lot of burst, so you know she's gonna absolutely melt everybody. Really strong ADC to have, and she has an escape. Ultimate still kind of useless though, so it's like tough to be like, oh, let's throw ult on her. It's her ult's kind of useless. I mean, don't play for her ultimate. Play for literally her passive stacking. Now, people I saw saying Belica's weak right now and all that stuff. Belica will never ever be weak. She does so much damage, and her Q with the ability haste now can drop such low CD. Her Q being her knock-up, and it can knock up everybody. She's an A tier list still. I see people put her in like B or even C, and I'm like, no, Belica is still extremely strong, and she's gonna be strong in all elos. She's very easy to play, has really good push, really good clear, ton of damage, scales really well. Her drone does damage to abilities. She's a phenomenal character. She's A tier, if not bordering, still borderline S tier. Alright, next we got is Morgish. Now Morgish does so much damage, has so much clear. Her escape is a little bit minimal, and she's mainly single target. But she does so much damage. I'm putting her in A tier. Like I said, I think most characters are going to be A tier. Like, you know, between the A and B tier, besides some minor changes, I'd say. Yeah, she does so much damage. Has really good clear. You know, everything stacks really well with her. God, her combustion procs decently well with her too right now, due to every single tick applying the 0.5 second reduction. Really strong character right now. Next we got Murdoch. Now Murdoch, he does so much damage. He has one of the best scaling in the game in terms of basic attacks. He has really good burst. He can steal kills and secure kills. Has movement speed. Has traps to keep people zoned off or to even trap them. He's the A tier easily. Now Argus, borderline S and A tier. Argus provides utility, provides damage, provides zoning, has a really strong ult that can almost one-hit the carry by using it if you hit all your shots. He provides so much utility. There's no question about it. He's really strong. Borderline S tier, right? It's just that he doesn't have necessarily burst. He still takes time to do damage, right? So, but he's very good, really strong mid laner, and he can play as a support very well still. So I'm gonna put him in A. Next we got is Muriel. So now Muriel got huge damage increase overall with her early game kit. Shields, we lost Wellspring, but we still got healing, we still got shields, we still got really good CDs on her. The only con is that I see people, like, when you want to play in Pub Stomp, you don't necessarily want to look into, like, Muriel. She doesn't have a solid engage per se besides her ultimate. So it's the only reason why I'm really going to put her in B tier. It's just that she's able to slow people and shield. Doesn't really have a solid engage. Next on the list, Narbash. Narbash going to A. Still really solid kit without Wellspring. And I think, what's it called? Crystal tier got to change. Ton of heals. The stun is really strong. A little bit weak early game if you don't necessarily know how to play them, but if you learn how to play them and just scale up till 6 and whatnot, extremely strong character. Provides so much utility. So I gotta put him in A for support. Next we got his phase. Now with the carries being so strong, specifically Sparrow, Kira, Grim, I will say phase going into A for that slight amount of peel and that root setup. Has good stuns. Of course, not necessarily damage, but like if you have a carry, if you have someone abusing a Sparrow or a Grim, you know, you can't necessarily carry with the phase, but man, are you gonna help that Sparrow or Grim at your game in your games simply because you're gonna amplify their damage and you're gonna save them? Like, you know, it's like tough to always put support. I'm trying to like balance it in terms of the support right now instead of the Pub Stomp, but pretty solid carry potential in terms of just buffing your carry, who's probably gonna go Grim or Sparrow at this point. So next we got is Rampage. Now, people have been going on the Rampage kind of got beat up or whatnot. You're never going to beat up someone who has a stun like Rampage and can make his body bigger to then prevent damage going to your ADC. Now, I'm going to put him into an A, but he's biased between a B and A. But that stun that he has and that initial damage burst that he can do early game during ganks puts him up there. And then if you keep your team growing, you know, you can cook with Rampage. You're going to have to kind of count on your team in a bit, though. But in terms of jungle, I think he still has pretty decent carry potential. Really good help and all that, right? So I have to put him on top. I have to put him on A, but bias towards B, right? Because if your team is not cooking, it's going to be really hard to carry. Not cooking, but just playing the game. If your team is not playing the game, you're going to probably lose with Rampage just because, you know, carry meta is going to melt him. Now Revenant is unfortunately behind. He got some damage, like it's just on hit is stronger. There's better carries than him. I had to put him onto a D, maybe a C, but there's no reason to play him. That's kind of it. There's just no reason to play him, you know, besides you wanting to play him for fun. Next on the list, we got Richter. Now, Richter is always going to be strong due to his CC and grabs. If you play him like a god, you're going to, you know, be treated like a god. He's going to be an A list, definitely. If not, borderline S tier. Just because he's a playmaker. He's such a good playmaker, especially if you learn him. Takes a lot of skill, right? But he can sustain a lot, provide a lot of good utility and support items. I gotta put him up there. You know, a lot of people are starting to kind of learn how to play into Richter, which is clear the wave really quick. So that way, if he does grab you, you know, there isn't a wave hitting you, and you can still kind of fight them after that, right? But I still would, you know, he's a solid A. So now Seraph is really strong, outputs a ton of damage, you know, but kind of falls off a bit in the jungle. Like, he scales well, but with the CC meta and just literally knowing how to target someone, I mean, Seraph falls off in a way. Like, she's just not the pick you necessarily want to have. Like, she's like Master Yi, but doesn't have the insane burst damage like Master Yi if you ever play League of Legends. She just has a problem there. Does a lot of damage, but she is easy to stun and then melt after that. You know, so it's like, I would say she's between, I'm gonna put her at B because I'd rather take her than like other characters in a way, like have her on my team. But like, you can't play her when you have no tank in the jungle or off lane. If you don't have a tank, it's really tough to play her, or like a solid engage, really tough to play her. So I'll put her between a B or C. I'm gonna put her in B because her damage is really nice, to where if she does start throwing damage out, then she can carry, you know, really heavily. But one form of CC, one misplay, you're probably gonna get beat up. Sevrog is in a bad spot now, being the solid, you know, hunk of junk that he is right now. He just gets bursted by carries. I'm gonna put him in the C right now. He just doesn't cook. He still provides CC and utility, but there's other characters that do that better, right? So we got Shinbi. Now Shinbi got a huge damage buff, but once again provides no CC. Like, that's just it. It's unfortunate. I don't see her in the jungle. She's not as tanky, even though tanks kind of got a little bit beat up. Right? She's not Greystone, because that's what I like to compare Shinbi to, is Greystone. And she has range, and you know, she got a little bit buff with the mana and all that and the dogs, but she still has trouble. You know, carry potential is slightly slim because one form is kind of similar to Seraph. Seraph has more ways to kind of prevent, you know, getting caught out. So I'm gonna bias her to a C or B tier, to be honest with you. You can still carry with her in terms of how much damage she does, but if the enemy team has stuns and CC, you're kind of done, you know. Steel. Now, people are going to go crazy on this. I saw, who was it? I saw Pinzo's tier list putting him on the bottom. That was absolutely abysmal, and I can't believe he did that. This is the only character that hard counters carries in team fights, especially Sparrow, by literally putting down a wall and preventing any of her damage for, what, 5 seconds? Like, that blew my mind. He provides a ton of CC. He's very easy to play. In reality, doesn't require any gold. His kit is just so strong, and it's really strong in the current meta. I've played Steel, and I suck with him, but I still win games with him because he's just that easy to play and provides so much. So I'm giving him S tier. Now, once again, I saw this in Pinzo with the Faye going down. I thought Faye is doing a phenomenal job right now. A lot of good items, a lot of good haste, a lot of good damage, a lot of good burst. Every mid laner is solid right now. I gotta give him. I gotta put her on A. Just, you know, she doesn't have an escape, but you just need to understand jungle rotations. Plus, you're given a blink. You know, don't necessarily play risky with Faye. But when you see your jungle, you know, understand. Look at my video. It talks about jungle timers. You know, and you'll be very comfortable playing Faye because she clears pretty quick and has a pretty easy laning phase and scales really well into late game, even with carries going cleanse and all that. He still does a phenomenal job in the current meta. Next we got is Zarus. So now Zarus is just still strong overall. More build paths, and he's can get bruisey while still doing damage and provides, you know, has a really good gap close and keeps people in. He's gonna get the A list. Just a really strong person to have and to see on the team. Now Sparrow is broken. If there is a list, she's just broken right now. On hit is absolutely busted right now. She does percent HP, has really fast attack speed, has her ultimate gives her extra range and AoE damage. She's overpowered. And she's gonna get changed due to items probably. So I'm not gonna really go on with her, and it's kind of like a shame to put her on here with how strong she is because she's gonna get changed. But she's broken. She's above S tier. She is busted, easy to play, easy to farm up. One item, you're gonna be a monster with her. Next we got is Decker. So Decker still a really strong support. Even current patch buffed her. Like she just I've went carry and I had a Decker on the enemy team and my team, and they were just doing so much damage. You know, the stun, you hit the stun, you land a wall, you're basically going to guarantee a kill. She provides a lot of utility. She's ranged, you know. Doesn't provide like heals or anything, but she's a very strong support for the solo carry, for pub stomping, right? If you get into that and placed into it. So next we got is Wraith. Now Wraith got a little bit of change due to Mind Razor and all that, you know, stuff that happened. Because he's very single target based and you miss a shot, you kind of fall off. I'm going to put him between a B and A. I'm going to put him more in B because low-key I don't like. I'd rather see a Gideon. I'd rather see a Faye. I'd rather see a Morgish, you know, in the current meta than a Wraith in my mid lane, even as a carry. I'm going to put him into B right now. BA, but pretty strong on the B. Now, Iggy is actually borderline S tier. The only reason why I won't put him on S tier is because he's a zone based with his turrets. This guy does so much damage now with Soulbinder, with Obelisk, with Azure Alchemical Rod. He does so much damage. He's borderline S tier. Only reason is, like I said, he doesn't. Once his turrets are placed, that's that area he needs to fight in. If your team doesn't do that, then you're kind of shafted. But he does so much damage. His ultimate's a little bit weird, being very close range and having CC cancel it. But he does so much damage. You can also go stasis on him, and if you get an engage, throw your turrets down, stasis. Now they're going to take free damage, you know, while they're right next to you waiting on you. Also, going Soul Bear on him is ridiculous too. Getting a bit of lifesteal because his turrets are single target. You get the full effect off of the heals. Really strong character right now. Now Kwang is strong, but kind of got hit by the tank meta. I would say it's better to go Aurora just due to Aurora's utility, CC, and all that. So he's between A and B. It's so tough if I want to put him more on B or more on A. If you're going to go off lane, you can still have a pretty decent lane phase. So I'm probably going to throw him into A on that. But late game, you're strictly going to count on that Q, and your sustain's going to drop off a little bit. So it's between A and B. But he's still a pretty safe laner is why I'm going to keep him in A. He's going to have really good dual potential. Now Grim honestly is on the overpowered side right now. Just due to the first item that you build on him. I forgot what it's called, but it gives you physical power and magic power and then converts it. I forgot what it was called, but that item gives him attack speed that's really good and viable. He has infinite mana. He has one of the best pokes of a carry with his primary ability. He has a spell shield, so he's able to block abilities in lane. He feels really good right now, and he outputs so much damage. And Aurora with cooldowns and everything, she's going into A tier. She was made, she's a little bit clunky, right? But with how tanky she gets and with how low her cooldowns can get into late, provides a lot of utility. Her ultimate can be ridiculous. I do like to have a good Aurora on my team, no doubt about it. So those are my overall tier list looks. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this tier list, if you think this is absolute terrible, if you have things, you know, that you would switch up, let me know what you guys think. This is just my opinion, and I do think anything in S to B is anything from S to B is carryable. Do not, you know, the game in my opinion is pretty balanced right now. S to B is carryable, and you can definitely dominate with every character in this game right now. C and D are they're just off. I would, you know, like that's just it. They're just off. They're just not the preferred character. I would not want to see these guys in my game. If you're a one trick though, I mean, you can cook with these guys, but I just wouldn't want to see it personally. That's kind of what it is. But I think from anywhere from S to B, you can cook up a game, right? You can cook up a game. I think that they did a pretty good job this patch, and hopefully the hot fix is going to change things up, or the balance patch is going to change things up. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I don't want to make the video any longer, but on that note, take it easy, have a good one, good luck in your games, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.